Welcome back, everybody. Doug Burson here, and today we're going to talk about the IRS mileage rates. We're going to cover what the mileage rates are for both 24 and 25 because, one, you need them for your tax return for last year, but you also need a plan for this year that we're already in. It's going to be a short video, but I'm also going to go over when to use the rates and when not to, why it's important to track it. This is super important you understand. And finally, my suggestion on how to make the whole process easy, because let's face it, we all stink at mileage logs. Okay, so for starters, when should we use the mileage rate and when should we not? That's a really tough question. The good thing is you don't have to decide until you file your tax return. So this is a really nice option. But one of the most important things to understand is when it comes to writing off the cost of the vehicle, if you're actually going to write off the cost, you have to use it more than 50% for business. And so even if we're going to write off the cost of that expensive SUV you just bought and try to take a big deduction all in 1 year, or at least a large percentage of it in 1 year, you still are going to have to track mileage even if we're not taking the mileage rate. So I want to understand that even if you don't claim mileage, mileage is still important. But what part of the mileage is not important? Well, that's your personal mileage. And a lot of people get confused on this part. When you're driving from your house to the very first job of the day, unless you have a home office established, and we could talk about that in a different video, but that mileage is what you would consider commuting. It is not business mileage. So for instance, I work in an office. The mileage from my house to here is not deductible mileage. The mileage from here to go visit any clients, to go to Sam's Club to pick up office supplies, to go see my attorney, whatever, that's all deductible mileage. But then once I leave that last job and I'm headed back home, that's commuting, and that's not business mileage. Like I said, maybe we'll do another one on home office, and I think that's the bigger key a lot of times to home office. Could be the mileage more so than the home office, but completely different video. We'll talk about that another time. So that's what we're trying to track. The mileage that you do everything else, obviously we all know it's not deductible, but so few people actually really keep a mileage log. And that leads me into why is it important? Well, it's important because I've been doing this a long time, and one of the first things the IRS is going to ask in an audit is, I want to see a copy of your mileage log. And you know why they ask that? Because they know you don't have one, right? They know you don't have one, and it's an easy way to knock off that deduction. And for a lot of you, it could be your biggest deduction on your entire return. Think real estate agents, couriers. It could be the biggest deduction you have, and if you don't have that mileage log, then get rid of that. Big win right away. But not only do you need the mileage just to substantiate the deduction, even if it's not mileage you're taking, like I said earlier, if we're writing off the cost of the vehicle, we have to have a mileage log to substantiate how much of that was business and how much of that was personal. Because a lot of people will say, almost everything I use it for is business, but they forget about the fact that they used it to tow their camper all over the country this summer to go camping, or they go back and forth to the lake with their boat and then they drag it with their truck, and they forget about all that mileage. Well, most of the time they be driving it for business. When you actually look at the mileage, maybe they're not. So it's very, very important to track it. And if you try to tell the IRS that all of your mileage was business, there's a good chance you're going to lose the deduction, and we're going to have to try to fight to get some of it back, because they're going to ask simple questions like, have you ever stopped at Walmart on the way home and picked up some groceries? And you're going to have a hard time saying, no, you didn't, because we know you did. Now, there are, I know, certain vehicles, and you're bringing them back to the lot. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about a general person who owns a vehicle. Okay, so that covers when to use it, when not to use it, why it's so important to track it, and it really, really is important to track it. But the truth is, a lot of us really mean to. And we put that logbook in our car, and we have the best intentions, and for the first week of the year, well, let's be honest, you didn't even write it down the first week of the year, but how are you supposed to do this? Well, the answer, my friends, it's right here, your cell phone. It is so easy nowadays. I've been using TripLog for, I don't know, a long time. And a lot of my other clients that use MileIQ. I always recommend, because those are the two I'm most familiar with, MileIQ and TripLog. It's worth a little bit of extra money to pay for those, because when you get in the car, it automatically prompts you to take care of it. You swipe one way, it's business. Another way, it's personal. Like one of the reasons I really like TripLog is because I can actually set it to kick on for certain times of the day. So for me, I work in an office. We have set hours. So for the most part, if I'm driving any time between, let's say, 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock, you can almost guarantee that's a business trip, Monday through Friday. If it's outside of those hours, chances are it's personal. So I set mine up so that for that, it automatically covers it. So I only have to worry about the times when it's outside of that bandwidth, and it makes it a whole lot easier for me. And then I can just go and do a little bit of cleanup here and there. But it's so automatic that I don't even have to think about it, because I'll be honest, I don't think about it. And most of you don't either. If you could, go ahead and subscribe. That really helps the channel out and helps us reach more people. Just so you know, I don't get paid for any of this. I have no deals with MileIQ or TripLog. I just honestly believe that those programs work really good for you guys, and I think you're going to really appreciate it, and your tax guy is going to love it next year when you bring him an actual log that is accurate. Let's just say that. That's great. But like I said, go ahead and subscribe. We'll continue to put out content that I think is great. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Any other videos you would like to see, because I try to make things easy to understand. So leave those below. We'll take care of that. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your day.